This is where I would tell you the plot of the story that we read. All I can tell you is it's about an astronaut who loses his memory and a giant muscular woman who speaks in pictograms in Ted McKeever's confusing Meta4. Hello! Welcome to Gutter Trash episode 145, Meta4 by Ted McKeever. My name is Eric.
And I am Jason.
This was a comic book.
It was.
From Image Comics.
Whoa.
Your most despised enemy of comic books.
You as in the listener?
You as in you, Jason.
No,
Oh.
No.
Not true.
Not true. I actually like Image.
Not what you said between episodes 1 through 58 or whatever.
No, that's not true. I think Image has grown as a company more than any other company I've ever seen.
Yeah.
As far as like diversifying and
Right.
trying new things and experimenting. And I hardly read any of their books, but I totally respect them. I should be keeping up with, I think I've said this on here before, I got a stack of Invincible trades.
Right.
I've only read the first two.
But that's superheroes.
I know, that's why I don't read it. Because fuck superheroes. I don't like them.
Or should you?
No, their spandex and their
Adventuring.
and their ideals and morals and high and mighty attitudes. Their jeans and their boots and their t-shirts that they bought at Target. Superman.
Why are you so angry at Superman?
And I'm not. I am. This is the first time I've been excited to read Superman since the last time Grant Morrison read it. I'm really glad he's doing it.
As am I.
And I'll pick it up.
Yeah. Why you gotta be harping on what he's wearing? And his lack of powers.
Of undies?
Yeah.
No, I'm serious. Like, I think you thought I was being sarcastic. I think it's awesome that they're starting him out, like, jumping around instead of flying around. Like, so he's building up, you know?
Right.
And I think the work boots and the pants makes way much more sense than, you know.
Kryptonian battle armor?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I think of, like, he looks kinda, you know, poofy with his battle armor suit, but,
Yeah.
He just looks like a tough dude. You know, like I've seen older dudes like working and out on the street with their jackhammers and whatever, and they're kind of dressed like Superman is.
Yeah.
I mean, not with the undies on the outside, but the pants wearing Superman.
I am looking forward to Action Comics #1. Mostly because I'm gonna make a fucking fortune on that book.
Oh yeah.
And I would much rather read the adventures of a Superman who wears ripped blue jeans and work boots than I do one who wears armor and knee pads.
Yeah, it's easier to relate. I mean, you do wear the knee pads all the time.
I do. Well, that's because I'd give a lot of blowjobs.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, see, I thought you did like maybe some electrical work on the side,
No.
and you're always like, it is the
It's
blowjobs.
blowjobs. Yeah.
Okay.
And my doctor told me that I really needed to start wearing knee pads because they were, you know, the ligament was getting torn up.
Oh wow!
And
So you really get in there and you
I do.
Wow.
I you know.
you can move around a little.
Right. It's like when I work on the computer, you know, coloring or using Illustrator or anything like that.
Uh-huh.
Like for some reason, like in my head, or sometimes even when I play video games, like in my head, it makes me feel as if I'm accomplishing something more if I'm like pressing on like the mouse button.
Oh yeah,
and
yeah.
just like gripping the mouse
Oh,
with
it's
like a death grip.
Like
you know?
when people move the video game controller up into the air as if that affects it.
And so when I'm giving blowjobs, like, I am digging my knees into that ground.
Right, yeah, you gotta establish a primary balance.
Exactly.
A center of...
Exactly,
right.
and I'm just, I gotta work it. And for some reason, like, if my knees aren't bloody
Right.
by the end of it, like, I don't feel like I've done my job.
I always tip a hooker extra for knees are bloody.
Right.
Good job. I'm proud of you, sir. I didn't know you were one of the few in the upper echelon of...
Yeah. I'm part of the brave and the bold.
Yeah, yeah, you are. The brave and the bold of Knobslobbing. Not of fighting crime. Well, that's cool. So yeah, that action starts this week.
Yep.
Probably like a day or two after this airs, I'd imagine. It's exciting to see how... I think Justice League, like in my store, it sold out in like 3 hours.
Right.
And we ordered like the same amount that we usually sell in, like 4 months.
Right.
We doubled that, and we sold out in 3 hours. So
That's cool.
yeah,
Too bad it was a terrible book.
that's what I've heard on one of my favorite podcasts,
Oh, yeah?
League Night. Actually, I haven't listened to that episode, but I've heard through the grapevine that you and Joe, neither one really liked it that much.
Not a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It was, go listen to the bonus episode of League Nights that came out last week, to hear mine and Joe Grunenwald's opinions on, the new Justice League. The first comic of the new DC relaunch, the one that is supposed to represent everything that is all about, what is going on. One that's supposed to grab new readers and old readers and lapsed readers and everything and everyone. And it failed on every possible level.
Really?
Yeah.
Even with the,
Even with only featuring 2 members of the Justice League out of the 6 or 7 that are on the cover.
Yeah. Well, you can't always judge what do they say,
You can't judge a convict based on shoddy evidence.
That's right. That is right. That's what I was going for. And, and then, for Jim Lee and Jeff Johns, 3 strikes, you're out,
Yeah.
I've somehow went into a baseball analogy, so I'm
Yeah,
not sure.
Foul ball.
Foul ball, sir.
Foul balls indeed.
Mm.
Much like Jeff Johns and Jim Lee probably have.
Foul balls?
Foul balls.
Like they smell?
Oh,
or
yeah.
they're just not working properly?
Probably smell bad.
Okay.
This is my first thing about that.
You would know the ball sacks better than I do.
Well, I've generally found people who do, for a living, sit for the most part.
Right.
As a Jim Lee and a Jeff Johns might.
Probably, like behind a keyboard or a drawing table.
Right, yeah. Balls tend to get a little smellier.
Right.
When you're just sitting there stewing.
Maybe they're like in a, like, I don't know what they would call a toilet-shaped chair, where like the oval in the middle is missing.
Toilet.
A toilet. Maybe they sit on a...
or maybe one of those James Bond torture chairs from Casino Royale.
Yeah, maybe they have torture chair, toilet, whatever they have. But maybe their balls hang freely. And then there's a oscillating fan of some sort in their drawing.
They are rich men.
Oh, yeah.
I bet they could afford that.
They might even have a bidet in their office chair. Just to prevent the aforementioned ball sweatage.
Right. Could be. They are wealthy men.
I hope everyone involved in the new DC relaunch gets rich enough to afford a bidet having office chair.
Yes.
That's what I hope it really amounts to. I don't care if the new readers come in,
Right.
but I just hope the retailers order so many copies of those number ones that all those artists and writers can afford clean ball sacks.
Even Gail Simone.
Even Gail Simone. Her leathery, smelly ball sack will be the cleanest of the bunch. This is my dream of the future. But we're not here to talk about ball sacks.
No, we're not. We are here to talk about this book, Meta4, by Ted McKeever, who I believe it is a crime that he is not attached to any of the new 52 books.
Oh, that would be cool, wouldn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Like, especially maybe like Dead Man or something.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Maybe he'll, because I guess there's that DC Presents anthology. Maybe he'll do a story on that.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Do you remember he did a Batman story years ago?
Yeah.
Like
Legends.
Legends of the Dark Knight.
Yep.
Batman was in all white, I believe.
Yep.
Yeah.
He also did the sort of adaptations of Metropolis, Nosferatu, and
That's right.
something.
I forgot all about those.
Like adaptations of the old silent movies, but featuring Superman,
Superheroes.
Batman, and Wonder Woman.
I think I only ever read the Batman one.
Yeah.
I did a couple issues of Eclipso way back when.
Yeah. Just a couple issues of Ultimate Spider-Man Team Up. Introducing Ultimate Doctor Strange to the Ultimate Universe.
I never read those either.
A couple issues of Spider-Man Tangled Web.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Let's see, what else has he done?
Was it Tangled Web, or was it Web Spinners?
I think it was Tangled Web.
Maybe it was, yeah. You're right.
He did,
Mostly.
The Extremist with Peter Milligan.
Yeah. Mostly,
Probably best known for his creator-owned stuff.
yeah, his, like, writer, or he is the writer and the artist,
Right.
but he has done some team-ups over the years.
Yeah.
Did he do some Doom Patrol way back when? I was
I
thinking, like,
can't remember.
the Rachel Pollack stuff.
As soon as Grant Morrison was off that book, so was I.
Yeah. I was thinking he did some of the later Doom Patrols, but...
I don't know. I do know that ever since I started reading comic books, like super getting into them, like I would get, I've probably mentioned it before on here, the American Entertainment catalogs.
Oh, okay. I don't know if you mentioned that or not.
All right.
And his work was...
You do know what those are.
American Entertainment catalogs. Was it all comics?
Mm-hmm.
Was that from Capitol, maybe?
No.
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
It was like a separate company that you could. I mean, they mostly dealt in back issues or trade paperbacks and graphic novels and whatnot, and like, I mean, they would occasionally have new books, but like if you ordered them, you wouldn't get them like 2-3 months later or whatever.
Oh, okay. They were kind of a smaller distributor, though.
No, I don't think so. I think the guy who owned that company is now in charge of Diamond.
Oh,
Steve Gimpy.
Steve, yeah.
They were like super huge back in 1989, 1990.
Wow, I don't even remember them. I don't know a lot about comics, though.
There's a lot about comics. This is about comic retailing.
Which
is your career.
That was before I was working. 89. I was merely a child back then.
But anyway, so I would get these catalogs month in, month out, and I would always see ads that to this day like stuck in my head, and some things I checked out, some things I never did, but like some of the ones that just always stood out to me were things like The Tick, The Trouble with Girls,
yeah,
and Metropole.
Yeah.
It's
very striking imagery.
Yeah, it is.
It's like the reason...
Which is Ted McKeever's book.
Ted McKeever's,
I should mention, because that's what we're here to talk about.
Right. Well, yeah, like we were just moments ago, or half an hour ago, as time rambles on this show, but we were talking about all the different things he's done, and like one of the reasons I think we both were bringing that up is he's done a shitload of stuff over the years, and I think I know 5 people ever who have even heard of, or like who are fans of him, who are like recognize his name, like who follow his work or even think he's talented at all.
Right.
And that to me is bizarre because his stuff is so different and recognizable. Like it's like when people see Jeff Darrow or Mike Mignola or Mike Allred or all these people who have such a distinct style.
Right.
Ted McKeever is by far, or not by far, but like most assuredly in that category.
Right.
Where he is doing something completely different from everybody else.
Right. Yeah, but because of that, I think that turns off a lot of your average comic fans,
Right.
and 'cause they don't want to see that. The people read those 2 issues of Ultimate Spider-Man Marvel team up thing and said, "What the fuck is this shit?"
That does seem like an odd, like the Batman thing makes more sense to me, like
Right.
Nosferatu, like all this like darker. It's kind of like whenever Mike Mignola did like that Cosmic Odyssey miniseries that was like just tons of superheroes. It's like that doesn't seem to fit his style as much as when he did like Gotham by Gaslight or
Right.
whatever. Yeah, Ted McKeever, I think, like even yeah, Batman makes sense. Even in Doctor Strange a little bit, but I don't know about like Doctor Strange and Spider-Man, like
Right.
or whatever. It seems kind of an odd place for his style to try to work.
Yeah, but it's distinct and it's he's good.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
incredibly good.
He is. I believe he's in my top 10 favorite artists of all time.
Wow.
I do believe so.
That is a bold statement.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know. I make up bullshit top 10 lists all the time.
Yeah, I do it. The one I just made up, that's probably number 2 on the most ridiculous top 10 list I've ever made in my life. But no, I've my brother, when I was a kid, had a bunch of Eddy Current comics and Transit comics,
Yeah.
and Metropole, and I used to read his stuff when I was a kid, and I remember his art just kind of having one of those effects on me where I'm like, whoa, I've never seen anything like that before.
Right.
Yeah.
I think as a kid I probably did not appreciate it, but I certainly do now. Like, especially after reading this, I'm definitely in awe of his style and what he can do and his skill. Because it is definitely, it's a style that he's developed long after he learned how to do all the basics. You can tell that.
Yeah.
Like he knows. Like, this is a guy I'm sure could draw something super realistic if he wanted to.
Yeah.
But then, why would he want to? Because he's nailed down this incredibly awesome look.
Well, it's funny that you mention that because some of the images in here are the most realistic figures I've ever seen him draw, because I think his stuff was a lot more
chunkier.
Yeah, chunkier, cartoony. It almost looks like, what are those tools that people lay down a cement and mortar with? Those like triangle shaped
Travels.
Yeah, like some of his old stuff looks like that's one of his drawing tools.
Right.
And there's a lot more like thin lines and like realistic figure drawing.
Right.
Yeah,
Some fine shading and ink work.
Yeah. Kind of reminds me a little bit of Sam Keith. I never would have thought that in his work before, but after reading this, like just some of the lines that he uses and the like diversity that he uses, kind of reminded me of Sam Keith in this book.
Interesting. I did not get that at all.
No.
But whatever.
No.
I'm not going to argue with.
We've fought enough.
Yeah. Because I think we're heading towards a fight here.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not. I don't know.
I bet we're not.
Because I'm going to be 100% honest about this right now. I didn't understand a goddamn thing that I read in that book.
Yeah.
Not a single little thing did I get what was happening.
But golly, wasn't it pretty?
Oh, it was gorgeous.
Okay, that makes me feel a lot better because I think I'm getting dumber as the years go by.
Yeah.
But
This made you feel really dumb?
it made me feel like I was missing something.
Alright.
Like
It made me feel really dumb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I was like, okay, it's called Meta4.
Right.
So let's start there.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of abstract representational imagery and plot devices.
Right.
But I read the entire thing with no distractions, like no TV on, nobody else in the room. And I didn't get it.
Yeah.
Not at all.
Yeah.
So I reread it. I sat down and reread the entire thing again.
Alright.
Except for the second time around, I skipped all of the police radio transmissions,
Yeah.
which
were distracting.
I think there was one panel in the entire, like, 100 and something pages.
That references it?
Yeah, where, like, it makes you think, okay, this is actually part of the story.
Right.
Where he, thinks the transmission's coming from a bullet or something.
Yeah.
And then every other time it's like, it bears no effect on the story, doesn't relate to the images you see.
Nope.
And yet it is, it like recurs and recurs page after page.
Yep. Alright. I'm glad I'm not the only one here, who thought these things.
Right.
Yeah.
That's cool. Well, if it is that one of us is too dumb to understand it, it's spreading to the other one. Like, we're both becoming dumb. I mean, I get some little pieces of it, like he's trying to say, like, what I got from it was that he was trying to say something about, not holding on to the past and, like, it's okay to start over and, like, don't worry so much about, you know, making all these rational connections to what's come before, but, you know, if you need to go in a different direction, go in a different direction. That's the basic story element I got from it.
I kind of get that too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
You sound so sure.
You know, that and, you know, sort of, yeah, just a general feeling of, moving on and, evolving past a situation or something.
Right.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, it's so strange because, and like, have you read Eddy Current?
No.
It is very similar in the fact that, there's one guy who's a little unsure about who he is, and he meets this, like, kind of giant, bald, hulking woman who kind of helps him out along the way. I mean,
it's exactly like this book.
It's very similar, yeah. But I like that one so much more, even though I think his artwork has gotten better.
Right.
Like, I think like you were talking about, he's refined his style and everything, but it didn't try as hard to, like, just be ambiguous and weird. It just kind of was. It was kind of weird, but it didn't seem like it was trying as hard to, like, make some sort of giant, bold,
statement.
Yeah, some sort of epiphany or, like, yeah. Like, I'm not gonna spoil the ending, but it even ends in this way that you're like, I feel like I'm supposed to be having an epiphany.
Right.
Like it should be like, when you watch the last, like, 2 minutes of American Beauty and you're like, wow, that was amazing. You know, but, never seen. Okay. It has one of those endings where you're like, oh wow, okay, this is crazy. But it makes sense as opposed to this.
Alright. I'll take your word for it. Yeah, okay, yeah, I was kind of afraid to bring up that maybe this is a book that was trying too hard.
Right.
But, so I'm kind of glad that you brought that up.
Yeah, it really does feel like that. And, like, I don't think it's anything against him, because I think he's a really good storyteller, especially for having such experimental art style.
Right.
Because sometimes that, like, even someone like Paul Pope, every once in a while, I'm like, I can't even tell what's going on in this panel, because it's so weird. But yeah, I think he's a really good storyteller, but I just think the story that he told here is just so abstract.
Right.
And, like, you know, metaphorical, obviously, that, like, I think maybe if he had, like, one big metaphor in it, where, like, the astronaut represents something, and, you know, like, maybe that would have worked better, but I think, like, there's, like, 1,041, metaphors in this book.
Yeah, it's a bunch of little things.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know much what else to say about it.
I mean, yeah, it's just, like, I'm flipping through it right now, and the imagery is awesome. Like, it's so meticulous, and it's beautiful, and, like, there's some great flashbacks, and there's some great scenes, like, the astronaut, he's walking on the moon, and he sees an exit sign, and he's like, what the hell, why is there an exit sign on the moon? And you find out, he's not really on the moon.
Right.
And that's really cool. There's some really neat scenes, but it never really, like, congeals.
Right.
It's all just, like, it's like looking at, a 100 abstract paintings that are all part of the same exhibit, and like you're trying to like
together.
you're like you're like, does this cohese somehow? And
Right. Yeah. It's a. I mean, obviously, because I think I don't know if I read it in because I have the single issues. You have the trade paperback, and I don't know if I read it like in the introduction of your trade paperback, trying to see if there was like. I was trying to see if there were like notes from the author in the back that explained it.
This could have really used that.
Which it doesn't. But it does have an introduction. I don't know if I read it there, if I read it online. But I guess he initially wanted to make this one big graphic novel.
I heard that. And like Valentino or somebody said.
Told him not to,
yeah. I wonder why. He said it was easier to promote as single issues.
Yeah.
But I wonder if that's really why.
I don't know. I don't know. But, yeah, there's a trade paperback out now, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, he just needs to promote that. Anyway, what I was trying to say was that, he initially intended it as one giant graphic novel. He obviously has an idea of what he's doing.
Right. Cause, he was ready to slog through it all.
Right. It really seems like there's like a bunch of just little really good moments in the book.
Yeah.
Like you said, it's like looking at a bunch of paintings and trying to make it a story.
Right. Yeah. Like there's so many really cool parts and the art is amazing. I mean, I almost think it's one of those few books that I would say is worth reading just to look at the artwork.
Right.
Like, I don't mean just like buying it and flipping through it randomly and like checking out the artwork. I mean, but actually seeing the storytelling and everything.
Right.
Even though I can't really make sense of it. I mean, I hardly ever, like, I think maybe 3 times in the last like 3 years when we were doing this show, I've actually looked up and like read something about the book after we read it
right.
to like figure out what I want to talk about.
Right.
Because I was like, I don't know what this book's about. I'm going to read a little bit. And I just read a quick interview with him. Might be the same one that you read because I think that's where I read the Valentino thing. But he just said, it's very metaphorical and like, the characters represent different things. Like, the astronaut guy sort of represents, identity, and the lady represents language, and like how they're both, you can put your own meanings on both of them sometimes, and they're different for each. Like if you don't quite understand the language someone's speaking, you can misinterpret it, and it's all about interpretation. And I mean, he was very vague because I think the interview that I read was right before issue 1 came out, so he wasn't giving away the ending or anything.
Right.
But I think it's just one of those things where it is just a lot more abstract, and I don't think anybody's gonna get the same thing out of this that Ted McKeever gets out of this.
Right.
Because I think it's
all him.
Yeah.
Yeah. I get what you're saying.
Yeah. Like if both of us did understand it, or air quotes understand it,
right.
I would imagine that they would both be completely different understandings of the book. It would just be whatever you want to place on it. It's like watching Eraserhead, and you're like, oh, I get it. Here's what it's about. And then somebody else watches it, and they're like, no, it's totally about this.
Right.
And you're probably both just as right as each other.
Right. Yeah. Well, I wasn't confident enough to try to make up whatever I thought this was about.
Yeah, it's a little heavy-handed even.
A little bit.
Towards the end where he's like, I don't want to spoil it. Because, but,
what is there to spoil though?
Yeah.
I mean,
when he's like naked and climbing a giant statue of himself.
Right, yeah.
It's just like, it sounds like some sort of horrible Freudian dream or something.
Yeah. I don't know. It's like I can't even say that I liked it or disliked it.
Oh yeah.
This is how much I didn't understand this book, But I think, solely based on just the visuals and the art, it's one of the best books I've seen in a very long time.
Yeah.
I would put it up there, like, as far as artistry goes, with, like, Black Hole.
Yeah.
Wow. Just visually amazing.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think this may be the best artwork I've seen by him, but I would say, at least out of all of his creator-owned stuff that he writes and draws,
Right.
which would include this, I think this is my least favorite thing that I've ever read by him. That's all him. But it might be my favorite drawn thing by him.
Right,
so,
right.
like, it's worth looking at it if you're a Ted McKeever fan, or if you're a fan of experimental art.
Right.
Or just, not necessarily experimental art, but just unique art.
Right. Yeah.
But, yeah, I think, like, I really liked Metropole, I really liked Eddy Current. Transit was kind of weird, because it changed so much. Like, the first issue of Transit looks like Keith Giffen drew it in the late 80s.
Okay.
It really does. Like, it looks like he's just worshiping Keith Giffen. And then by the second issue, it starts to look a little stranger. And then, like, the last couple issues look just like all of his other stuff, like
Right.
Eddy Current and Metropole.
Basically, read Transit if you want to see how he developed his style.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah. I've actually never read any of his other creator-owned books, so I should maybe check something out.
Yeah. Maybe down the road I've got Transit and Eddy Current. Maybe I'll pick one of those down the road.
Maybe.
Transit's only like 5 issues, but Eddy Current's like a dozen issues, so that might
Do
be
you
better.
have the Image hardcover collection that came out?
No, I have the old school single issues. What up?
Because one of those books wasn't finished, and the hardcover finishes it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Wonder which one that would be.
I don't know.
Maybe it is Transit, because we have all those hardcovers at Mavericks.
Yeah.
And Transit, I remember thinking that looked a little thick for a 5-issue series, so
Right.
maybe they finished it in there. Or he finished it in there. That's cool. So, not a complete waste of time, but
But yeah, a confusing
yeah.
waste of time.
Yeah, it's like you said, you can't really say it's good, but you enjoyed the process of reading it.
Yeah. I enjoyed looking at it.
Yeah.
For the most part.
What do you think? Do you think the police transmissions had anything to do with anything? Yeah, it's like that almost seemed like if it was supposed to be like a jarring element, it would work much better in film.
Yeah.
Because, you get this weird police radio thing going on in the background. You're like, well, this is weird and crazy and something's crackling. But whenever you're reading every word of it,
Right.
you're really paying attention, and like, there's like even some parts that are kind of scratched out, and I was like looking like, oh, it's Oak Street. Okay, that's what that's like.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't think that would work as well in comics as it would in.
Yeah, I think you're totally right, because I was doing the same thing. I was like paying attention to every single word, and
You're like, this has to mean something.
right, yeah, like it's built into something. And,
Right.
Like the only thing it builds to is he thinks that the bullet is talking
Yeah,
at some point.
yeah.
And, yeah. I think it even continues after that, but it never leads to anything.
That was the most bizarre thing I think about the book,
Yeah,
because it seemed like some very concrete story element,
right.
and just
There were just a bunch of things. The lady with the goggles, like, I don't
she took in all of his frustrations and shot them out of her hair or something.
I guess, I don't know. the kid,
Oh, and he had like toys that looked like the main characters.
Yeah, and Thunderbutt and whatever his name was.
Bosco with the baseball bat. And,
Bosco was a different guy.
yeah. Strange book.
Strange indeed. Yeah, I got nothing else. Just pretty to look at for the most part, and if you want to really think, if you want people to think you're smart, read this book and tell them that you understand.
Yeah. Or if you've read it and you do understand it more than us, please comment on our page.
Tell us, please.
Because I like to think we're not just a couple of dummies, but it's very possible.
I'm not even 98% sure that we're dummies.
Yeah. Okay.
But I'd like to think that there's certain things we could comprehend.
Yeah. Yeah, we could, like I said, I read this twice. I waited till today and I read it a second time.
Yeah.
Before I went to work. But, yeah, I figured, I was like, okay, now that I know sort of how it ends up, maybe I'll look for clues and stuff
Right.
as I'm rereading it, and I'll just skip the, the police radio.
Right.
But yeah, it made no more sense the second time around.
I finished reading it last night, and today, I pulled them all out again, and I was like, I'm gonna read this again before the show. Just to see if I can figure it out.
Right.
And, I was just like,
I can tell you it didn't help the second time around.
Right.
Yeah. Maybe it warranted a third reading? I don't know.
Nah. Alright, let's take a break.
a song.
Hey, welcome back to Gutter Trash.
Hello.
What's up?
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think we ever got into how this is actually, this is almost an episode that never existed.
No, yeah, we have not talked about that yet. I think most of our listeners, via the Facing book and the twats,
Probably
basically have an idea of what happened.
Right.
But just in case, this is a long holiday weekend. Today is Labor Day.
Yeah. Happy Labor Day.
Happy Labor Day to you. Did you put out your Labor Day stockings and hide your Labor Day eggs?
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Yeah. I sure did. I went to the Labor Day. I know there probably is a Labor Day parade. I started to say I went to the Labor Day parade, but somewhere there probably is a Labor Day.
Probably is. But anyway, as usually what happens with a long weekend, my bosses tend to generally let us get off early on a Friday. So I got home a couple hours early on Friday, and I was like all set, because my usual plans on Friday, usually I hang out with one of my friends, but plans for this weekend were different. So I had Friday pretty much all to myself to do nothing.
Nice.
So I was like, I am going to get a shit ton accomplished this weekend. I'm going to color a bunch of shit. I'm going to work on some art on the computer. I am going to be a madman about that. And I set to it.
Yeah.
3 o'clock Friday afternoon, I'm sitting here at my computer. I'm working. I am scanning things. I am getting things ready. I am going to be on a roll. Around 5 o'clock or so, I'm in the middle of coloring something, and I suddenly feel a mist on my hand.
Oh.
And I'm like, well, that's weird. I'm not drinking water. Yeah.
Feels like having a stroke, maybe.
Yeah, no, yeah, like, no, it was a definite, like physical mist.
Yeah.
Like someone had, spit water into a fan, and it was coming back onto me.
Right.
And, so I look at the fan, because it was right next to me, and it was on. Figuring, I don't know, somehow did I accidentally put water in front of it or something? But then, I noticed that the mist has become a fine stream of water from the ceiling onto my hand. And I look up, and there is water pouring from my ceiling onto my desk, onto my mouse, onto my keyboard, onto my monitor, onto the soundboard, onto the microphones.
Oh, man.
And the only thing I can say is just, fuck. And I get up. I push my keyboard across the desk to the side of the desk where the water wasn't hitting.
Right. Seems smart.
Yeah. My mouse and my mouse pad they got stuck there. The thing that I panicked about the most was the soundboard. Because without that there would be no this.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
Yeah. And so I tried to move it away from the water, but it's attached with a bunch of cords and wires.
Right. Yeah.
It wasn't moving off the desk.
Oh.
At that point, I was just like, fuck it, I gotta go tell my landlord that this is happening. And this was 5 o'clock on a Friday for a long weekend. I am fucking lucky that he was actually still here. Because usually he gets off at 5 on a Friday.
And he would be done.
Yeah.
He would nowhere around. Yeah.
So I ran downstairs. I tried the door, but it was already locked. So I just pounded on it, and I just kind of stood there. Meanwhile, here in my apartment, water is just continuously pouring down the ceiling.
Onto all of your technology.
On all my equipment here. Finally I hear, hang on! And the door opens, and he's like, what's going on? And I was like, there is water pouring out of the ceiling. He was like, what? That's not possible. I was like, nope, it's happening. There's water coming down into my office. Okay. And he like kind of walks out. Oh, hold on, I gotta go lock up everything. And he like goes back in. And I'm just standing there, just waiting, just like, come on, hurry the hell up. There's a fucking waterfall in my office.
And not some relaxing, like, bonsai style.
Nope.
Yeah.
Luckily, like, before I went down there, I have a trash can here by my desk. It was full at the time. I decided I didn't give a shit, and I just dumped out all the trash right onto my chair, and placed the trash can underneath the waterfall. Which at the time was good enough. So my landlord finally gets done locking everything up, and I just sprint into my apartment as he takes his time. I come into the office to see that the little trash can, not enough.
Oh, yeah.
So I run into the kitchen and grab my big trash can, and swap them out, because that's the size that needed to be to contain the water coming down.
Wow. Was this all one, like, waterfall, or was there, like, multiples?
It was all from one area,
Mm-hmm.
pretty much. I have, like, ceiling tiles. It was coming through there, basically.
Yeah.
So my landlord comes in, he sees what's going on. While he's sort of looking at it, I am, he's looking at it, he's like, oh god, I gotta go talk to the neighbors. And he, runs out of the apartment. And, so I'm standing here, and I finally have enough time to think.
Right.
And I start unplugging everything. Audio board, microphones, computer, I shut off all the power. I shove everything off to the far side of the desk as I can, away from the water. The soundboard pretty much took a direct hit from the flood. I've unplugged all the cords and everything that are plugged into it. And I set everything off to the other side of the office. Meanwhile, I can hear him pounding on the door upstairs. And I hear him yell something. And I hear some shuffling around. And then about a minute later, he comes down. And he was like, they left their sink running and forgot about it.
It's pretty awesome.
Oh, yeah. And it's not like, like they left it running and then, like, left or anything. They were in the apartment.
Yeah.
And they just left it running. And it overflowed into my office, onto my soundboard.
That'd be a lot of water to come all the way through the ceiling.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, like, it's not like, you're in a bunker here, but
No. Yeah.
you would think, like
Yeah.
if they just spilled a bucket of water on the floor, that'd be no problem, right?
The precursor to this story is that about 7 years ago or so, during like one of our massive snowstorms that we occasionally get,
Mm-hmm.
the ceiling collapsed due to the weight of snow. So they had to patch it back up and everything, and that's why I now have the tiled ceiling to cover up the giant hole. So that is partially where that water escaped to.
So the snow collapsed your neighbor's ceiling, and that collapsed onto your ceiling?
No, the snow collapsed the roof,
Okay.
which is my ceiling, basically.
Yeah.
Their floor, I don't know, it's not directly above me, but it is somewhat above
I
me.
gotcha.
Yeah.
I gotcha.
At least the floor where the sink is. But basically, like, there was already enough pre-damage there that whatever spilled over was able to come down here.
didn't take much.
Yeah.
Wow. It's crazy. It almost seems like they're like, like I could spy versus spy style. I could see them up there with like one of those corkscrew drills, just like drilling a hole into the ceiling and pouring water into your database.
Yeah. I was not happy on Friday night.
As I would imagine.
Yeah. So, I mean, I cleaned up as best as I could. Like, once they stopped the water deluge, like it did stop dripping down here, long enough for me to dry everything off, or at least to put things out of harm's way to let them dry on their own. I set Chauncey up to dry the microphones off.
Good job, Chauncey.
Yeah. The floor was still damp for about, up until yesterday, really. But the soundboard, which is, would have been the bigger loss, because again, without that, there would be no this.
Yeah.
Luckily, this weekend, it was, super hot out. So I was able to, I have like a small area just outside of my kitchen that's, that leads to the basement, basically. But no one ever goes through there. And there's no air conditioning or fan there, so it's pretty hot in there.
Right.
So I turned the soundboard upside down and I let it sit out there for like 10 hours. And it dried out pretty quickly.
That is amazing. That is amazing to me that it works at all. Because you would think like a piece of equipment that sensitive with there's like 18 ports in this thing.
Yeah.
You like basically holes.
It's full of holes.
Yeah. You would think like that would be some irreparable damage.
Yeah.
So that's crazy.
Yeah. No, the only thing that I have that went beyond repair was my mouse.
Yeah.
Yeah. Had to buy a new mouse pad.
We reimbursed.
I gave the receipt to my landlord.
Yeah.
To give to the neighbors. I am imagining I will never see a dime.
Now, in my mind, they came down and apologized and said, like, yeah, sorry, geez, what were we thinking?
In a society, something like that would have happened.
Yeah.
Surely.
Right?
Yeah.
We're not animals.
No. But apparently we are.
Oh, that never happened?
Because that never happened.
Oh. Yeah, have you seen them since?
Nope.
Yeah.
So I saw them take out a bunch of laundry the next day, including a bunch of towels that they used to sop up the mess from their side.
Right. That's what happens, you think, in your mind when you're thinking about the next time you guys pass each other, like in the driveway or something. Is there any exchange at all, or?
I am going to continue on the way I've been continuing on, with no exchange.
Yeah.
If they try to engage me, I'm thinking this is the time where I finally let them have it. Because ever since they have moved in, as the listener surely knows, they have ruined my life. From the time that they first moved in and would party till 5 a.m, with their obnoxious hip hop. And I say that only because it was obnoxious.
Right.
Because I can like a good hip hop.
Yeah, you hip. I've seen you hop.
Yeah.
Mostly hip. Both. Yeah, mostly hip.
Yeah.
Occasionally hop.
Right. But only to the good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They do not listen to the good stuff.
Mm.
Yeah, they've ruined my life. They've had screaming children. I've had police knocking on my door because one of them stabbed the other. We know these stories. You've heard me talk about them.
Yeah.
This is... my life is in misery because of them. And yet, this is... within the past couple months, like, it almost seems like they've calmed down. Like there has not been... There's the occasional screaming baby.
Right.
There's the occasional stomping around. There's the occasional time where I feel like the back of my neck is going to explode with stress.
Right.
But I mean, within reason. They've stopped the cookouts. They've stopped parking their hoopty-mobile on the hill behind my office so that they can listen to the radio from the car.
Well, they're up in their apartment.
Right.
Yeah, of course. Why not? That's industrious, but annoying.
Most of this stuff has subsided. But man, this is like really the first time where they literally almost fucked with my livelihood.
They kind of invaded your apartment.
Yes.
With damaging liquids.
Yes. Yeah. And not just my apartment, but like, the shit I love to do.
Yeah.
Like I was not able to work on anything Friday night because my office was wet.
Right. Yeah. It's hard to do computer-based artwork in a soiled environment.
Right. We almost didn't have a podcast because it wouldn't have existed had the soundboard been damaged beyond repair.
Right.
They fucked with the things that I love to do.
Yeah. Well, in a perfect world, maybe they'll get evicted because of it.
They won't.
Yeah.
Because someone else still pays their rent for them. Which also means that I won't be seeing a dime for any of the damages.
For not even the mouse.
Not even the mouse.
Yeah.
Which I had to buy the cheap mouse. Because that was the cheapest one they had. And sadly, it's also the smallest one they had. Which is not going to help my wrist.
I say it looks pretty tiny.
It is incredibly tiny. It is not comfortable.
It's about the size of a nickel. There's a button.
Yeah. I have to right-click with a pin.
Yeah. Man. Well, I'm glad it was salvaged. I'm amazed, like I said, that the soundboard works.
Me as well. Yeah, I talked, because this all happened Friday. I talked to my landlord. He was like, well, we'll see how everything is in the morning and see what we can do. So I went down and talked to him when I woke up on Saturday. And he told me to test the equipment, which I really wasn't comfortable doing at the time. Because I just wanted it to... I wanted to make sure that it was completely dried out.
Right.
But I did it, and it worked, so...
It's craziness.
Kind of hoped it hadn't worked. Because then I would have tried to get a new computer out of all this.
Yeah. But they may not have been able to.
They would.
Yeah.
They're welfare people.
Oh.
The charity pays their rent for them.
Well,
this is why they can be complete dipshits about living up there. Never get evicted.
See, that seems like the flaw in the whole, like you should at least have to be
pleasant,
decent. Yeah. Like instead of just poor, you should be poor and yet decent to someone.
Yeah.
Because anybody can be poor.
Yeah, I'm poor.
Any fucking guy. I could quit my job and then be poor and be an asshole to everybody.
Right.
That doesn't mean I deserve any money.
Yeah, you could, not have a job and go live with your aunt.
Yeah.
And, not even try to find a job or a new place to live or anything like that,
Yeah. That doesn't sound appealing, though.
Yeah.
What? Oh. I thought you were talking about me.
I don't know if this is something you can get into.
Nah.
Alright.
No.
Let's just say we both have had a bad couple of days.
Yeah. That would be a way to put it. Oh, man. Well, I'm glad it's all working now.
Yeah, me too.
I don't know if this is like a bold new direction for us. I mean, like, nothing's going to change because of the water damage. I don't know.
I don't think so. Unless it sounds like we're underwater.
That'd be kind of neat.
Yeah. As far as I can tell, the equipment works, so we're going as strong or as weakly as we were anyway.
Yeah. That makes sense. Well, anything else exciting happen other than the torrent of water in your working area?
Nope.
It's been kind of quiet. It's cold now.
It's very cold today.
That is awesome.
I had to wear pants.
That is awesome.
I was pretty much determined that I was going to spend this long weekend not wearing pants.
Yeah.
And here I am, in full blue jeans.
You're panted up,
just like Superman.
Yeah, that's why. It's like he's your hero.
A little bit.
You put on your pants. I I put on my retractable pants because Wonder Woman's my hero.
Right.
Did they ever decide what's going on with her pants?
She's wearing shorts now.
Is it just it's not retractable though?
As far as I can tell, she is simply just wearing the panties.
Okay. Well, that's cool. I like her in her panties, and that's not supposed to be perverted. It's just the way that she looks.
Right. Yeah.
I like her better in a short pant.
Me too.
Yeah.
But, at the same time, I also don't give a shit if she's wearing pants or not.
Yeah.
All I care about is whether her stories are good.
Yeah.
And the way that everybody seems to be freaking out about Brian Azzarello being the writer on the book sounds like it may be a winner.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. They're freaking out in a bad way?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've generally seemed to discover that if the majority of the online opinion is something is going to be terrible before it has ever come out,
Yeah.
then it is most likely going to be awesome.
That's cool. That's cool. Well, yeah.
Except for the Justice League.
Oh, were people saying that was going to be terrible?
No, I think actually probably that was the one that everybody had the most excitement for.
Jeff Johns, Jim Lee.
Right.
Two big names.
Yeah.
That's craziness.
Yeah.
Comic books are a-changin'.
Comic books are a-changing. Just a quick aside, if I could. I follow Gail Simone on Twitter. She makes some statements here and there. She's been reading the various DC books before they come out and just sort of giving encapsulated opinions of them real quick,
Mm-hmm.
She said that Action Comics is one of the best ones she's read. iVampire, OMAC, she's said positive things about these books.
That's cool.
She said that she finally got to read Batwoman #1 by J.H. Williams. Said that it is absolutely gorgeous and everybody must own it. And one of her fans responded, "Why are you bothering reading that book? Why don't you review something that matters?"
Well, that seems mean.
Yeah, it does. Because really, what comic book actually matters? None of them.
Oh yeah, you're right. I started to think of one, but
None of them matter. And yet all of them matter.
yeah, they matter to me.
Yeah. They're your livelihood.
They are. Oh yeah, they're my hobby,
Yeah.
my livelihood.
Yeah.
My
Your breadwinner.
my breadwinner. Yeah, they're everything to me.
Yeah. People need to lighten the fuck up, is what I said.
I read another comic book this week.
Oh, I did not.
Bonus review.
Oh, wait, I did.
I read.
I already reviewed it. Go to League Night.
Yeah.
.gutotrash.net.
I talked before about
Something.
like
Whatever. I don't know.
when I,
League.gutotrash.net for the review of the other comic I read this week. Go.
when we reviewed Evil Ernie, I said there's a guy that loans me books and they're always terrible.
Yeah.
And then I just decided to never review anything else that he loaned me.
Right.
Then he went and loaned me something good.
Really?
Like I didn't know he was going to loan me this at all when I mentioned that, so I didn't pick it, of course, because I already said I wasn't going to pick anything else. He loaned me the Star Slammers graphic novel, the Marvel, 1983 or whatever, Marvel graphic novel by Walt Simonson.
Yeah.
It was pretty good.
Huh?
The artwork was awesome.
Well, it's Walt Simonson, I'm imagining.
And the story was pretty good. I mean, it wasn't
Right.
a great story, but
Like Walt Simonson, I would imagine.
yeah. So, I mean, it was by far better than the two things we actually reviewed that he loaned me. But, I don't know. I wouldn't say, rush out and, find it on eBay or whatever.
I won't.
Yeah. but it, it was worth reading. It was kind of neat. I think that's the only other book I've read this week. So, yeah. So I don't know. Should I pick a movie, I
You
guess?
should probably pick a movie.
Yeah. Are we starting to meander?
Yeah.
I believe we are.
Yeah.
Well, how about we watch a movie I've been wanting to watch for a while, and I think you own?
Ooh.
JCVD.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
I've never seen it. I believe you have.
Oh. I do have it.
Yeah?
Yeah. Veto. Only because I'm afraid of what accompanies this pick.
Well, I wasn't gonna mention that on the show, but I was gonna see what you thought about that.
Alright. Well, I guess, we're gonna watch JCVD.
Sweet.
JC. Yeah, that's it.
Jesus Christ, venereal disease.
Right. I always get the initials confused.
Yeah.
Mostly because there's a electronics company called JVC.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So I always want to say JVC. And there's also Law and Order SVU that I always want to call SUV.
Because of the vehicle.
Right.
Yeah.
And then there's NTSF SD SUV.
Which is probably better than all the other things we mentioned.
Probably.
Yeah.
JCVD is pretty awesome.
Oh, really? Spoiler.
Alright, let's do it.
Sweet.
Alright.
Well, good night, everybody, and glad we're still with you. I'm sorry we're still with you.
Yeah. Yeah, alright. Bye. You can subscribe to Gutter Trash at iTunes or directly at guttertrash.net. If you go to iTunes, please leave us a review. You can email us at eric@guttertrash.net or jason@guttertrash.net. For more info, you can find us on Facebook. Or you can go to seanborn.net or buyerbeware.guttertrash.net. Listen to our sister podcast, League Night, at league.guttertrash.net. Thank you for listening. Until next time.